What if I told you that the most dangerous man in the history of professional wrestling just lit a match and threw it directly into the middle of WrestleMania season? What if I told you that one phone call, one promo, one decision by Brock Lesnar has the entire WWE locker room, champions, legends, and so-called top guys sitting in silence, staring at the floor, hoping, praying that their name doesn't get called? And what if I told you that the most infuriating part of this entire situation isn't what Brock said? It's what nobody is doing about it. Welcome to WrestleScope. Strap in, because today we are going deep into the chaos that is Brock Lesnar's open challenge for WrestleMania. And by the end of this video, you are going to have an opinion so strong, you're going to need to drop it in the comments. Trust me. Let's go. Let's set the scene. WrestleMania season is supposed to be the most exciting time of year in professional wrestling. The road to the grandest stage of them all is supposed to be filled with dream matches, heated rivalries, and moments that make your jaw hit the floor. And then, Brock Lesnar walks in. No music at first, no fanfare, no carefully scripted promo that marketing approved 3 weeks ago. Just Brock, Paul Heyman, because of course Paul Heyman, and a microphone that probably didn't even want to be in that arena. And Brock says it. Plain, simple, devastating. I'm issuing an open challenge for WrestleMania. Anybody in that locker room, anybody on this roster, anybody on the planet, if you think you can step inside that ring with the Beast Incarnate on the grandest stage of them all, come find me. Now pause. I need you to really sit with that for a second. This isn't a scripted rivalry that's been building for months. This isn't a carefully manufactured story with a clear beginning, middle, and end. This is Brock Lesnar, a man who has conquered the UFC, conquered the NFL, conquered WWE more times than most people have had hot meals, standing in the middle of a ring during WrestleMania season and essentially saying, "None of you are worth my time, but I'll give one of you a shot anyway." That is either the most arrogant thing that has ever happened in professional wrestling, or it's the most honest. And I'm not sure which one makes me angrier. Here's where it gets infuriating, and I mean genuinely, legitimately, throw your remote at the TV infuriating. The challenge goes out. WrestleMania is right around the corner, the biggest show of the year, the show that sells out stadiums with over 80,000 people, the show where careers are made, where legacies are cemented, where people who work their entire lives just for a moment finally get their moment. And what does the locker room do? Silence. We have a roster full of men and women who talk every single week about how they're the best in the world. We have guys cutting promos about destiny, about their moment, about how they were born for WrestleMania. We have superstars with championship gold around their waist walking around like they own the place. And when Brock Lesnar opens the door, when he literally hands someone a WrestleMania main event opportunity on a silver platter, the silence is so loud it's embarrassing. Think about what that says. Not about Brock. About everyone else. Because here's the twist that nobody on the internet is talking about, and this is what makes Brock's challenge so uniquely sinister. This isn't just a match offer. This is a psychological weapon. Brock Lesnar doesn't just beat you physically inside that ring. He beats you before the bell even rings. The moment he issued that challenge, every single person on that roster had to make a decision. Step up and risk the most humiliating loss of your career on the biggest stage of the year, or stay quiet and live with the fact that you were too scared to even try. Either way, Brock wins. He's already won. And that right there, is why Brock Lesnar is in a category completely by himself. Alright, let's talk about this from a fantasy perspective, because this is the part where it gets genuinely exciting, and I want to hear from you in the comments below, so don't you dare close this video. If we're being real about who could answer this challenge and actually make it feel like a legitimate WrestleMania-worthy moment, the list is both thrilling and terrifying. Let's start with the obvious name, Cody Rhodes. Now, Cody has been on the grandest journey in recent WWE history. The story of finishing what his father started resonated with millions of fans. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Does Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar have that same electric, story-driven energy that made his WrestleMania moments feel special? Or does it feel like a detour? Like a speed bump on someone else's road? Some of you are already typing your disagreement in the comments, and I respect that. What about somebody completely unexpected? What if, and stay with me here, what if the answer to Brock Lesnar's open challenge came from someone who has been sitting in the mid-card shadows, grinding for years, waiting for exactly this kind of moment? What if a guy like Gunther stepped forward? Gunther,
a man built like a Roman statue and fights one too, answering Brock Lesnar's challenge for WrestleMania would be one of the most physically intimidating matches this generation has ever seen. Two absolute monsters, two men who operate on a completely different level than everyone else on the roster. No games, no tricks, just a collision of brute force that would shake the foundation of that stadium. And the story writes itself. The longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history against the most dominant force WWE has ever produced. The European powerhouse versus the American anomaly. The man who built his legacy on chopping people's chests off their bodies versus a man who has suplexed everyone from John Cena to The Undertaker. That match sells itself in 30 seconds. But here's my real dark horse pick. The name that nobody is saying out loud, but everybody should be thinking. Sami Zayn. Before you click away, hear me out. WrestleMania isn't just about the biggest match. It's about the biggest story. And the story of Sami Zayn, the perpetual underdog, the guy who has scratched and clawed and been knocked down more times than anyone can count, answering Brock Lesnar's open challenge would be one of the most emotionally charged things WWE has done in years. Nobody gives him a chance. Nobody in that building would believe he could win. The odds would be so astronomically stacked against him that the entire arena would be holding their breath from the first bell. And that is the magic of WrestleMania. That is what the grandest stage is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you believe in the impossible. Would he win? I'm not saying that. I'm saying the story of him even trying, of him walking down that WrestleMania ramp and looking across the ring at Brock Lesnar without flinching, that is a moment that lives forever. Now here's where WrestleScope goes somewhere the rest of the internet isn't going. What if this open challenge isn't what it appears to be? What if this is Brock Lesnar, and more importantly, what if this is Paul Heyman playing a much longer and more dangerous game than anyone realizes? Think about it strategically. Open challenges at WrestleMania are supposed to be about a competition, about proving yourself against the best. But Brock Lesnar doesn't need to prove anything. He has nothing left to accomplish. Every mountain has been climbed. Every giant has been slain. So why the open challenge? Why now? Here's my theory, and I want you to tell me in the comments if you think I'm onto something or completely off base. This open challenge isn't about finding a worthy opponent. It's about sending a message to someone specific. There is a name somewhere on that roster that Brock and Paul want in that ring at WrestleMania. And rather than publicly calling that person out, rather than giving them the dignity of a direct challenge, they're using the open challenge format to force that person's hand. Because if you issue a direct challenge, the other person has options. They can negotiate, they can set terms, they can position themselves as equals. But if you issue an open challenge and dare everyone in the building to step up, now that specific person has to either answer and look like they fell right into your trap, or stay silent and look like they were too afraid. It's a masterclass in psychological warfare, and it has Paul Heyman's fingerprints all over every single inch of it. I want to zoom out for a moment, because there's something happening here that's bigger than one WrestleMania match. Brock Lesnar issuing an open challenge is a statement about the current state of WWE. It's a gauntlet thrown down not just at the roster, but at the entire concept of what a top star looks like right now. Think about everything WWE has invested in building the next generation. The time, the storytelling, the merchandise, the television hours. And then Brock shows up for what feels like 5 minutes, issues a challenge, and the entire conversation shifts. That says something about star power. Real, undeniable, can't manufacture its star power. You can build 100 carefully developed characters. You can invest years into someone's storyline, but there are just certain forces of nature in this business that operate on a completely different frequency, and Brock Lesnar is one of them. The question WWE has to answer, the question that might actually define the next era of this company, is whether the current generation of stars can finally step into that frequency and match it. Because if nobody answers this challenge in a way that feels real and earned and genuinely threatening, then the challenge itself becomes an indictment, a brutal public indictment of every other name on the roster, and Brock Lesnar, smirking somewhere, probably at a farm in Saskatchewan, will have made his point more powerfully than any championship match ever could. So here's where I land on all of this. Brock Lesnar's open challenge for WrestleMania is one of the most compelling, most dangerous, and most fascinating things to happen in WWE in a very long time. It's a pressure test for the entire roster. It's a psychological trap. It's a statement about star power, and it's a WrestleMania moment waiting to happen, if the right person has the guts to step up. But I want to know what you think. Who should answer Brock Lesnar's open challenge for WrestleMania? Is it Gunther? Is it Cody? Is it someone completely out of left field? And do you buy my theory that this whole thing is a carefully orchestrated trap designed for one specific person? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Seriously, pause this video, scroll down, and tell me. I read every single comment on this channel, and the debate we're about to have is going to be incredible. If this video got your blood pumping, if you found yourself nodding or yelling at your screen, or desperately wanting to defend your favorite superstar, then hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds and it means everything to a channel like WrestleScope. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, I genuinely don't know what you're waiting for. We cover WWE and professional wrestling with the kind of depth, passion, and unfiltered honesty that you're not going to find anywhere else. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a single breakdown. WrestleMania season is here. The beast is spoken. The only question left is, who's brave enough to answer? I'm WrestleScope, and we will see you in the next one.